What is going on, everyone? It's Update Tuesdays or Update Wednesdays, depending on where you're from, and we've got the next little bit of news coming in. So this is already live and all the good stuff. So let's go through it. Let's jump into it. Welcome, heroes, to another exciting update for Age of Mythology Retold with brand new AI personalities, more balance updates, PlayStation 5 performance fixes, and plenty of new features. So let's check out what's coming in. So the AI personalities, this is something that's really, really cool for single player and also anyone who wants to do like comp stomps on multiplayer. But basically, you've now got yourself a way to adjust the AI's behavior. I was playing around with this just a little bit in the public update preview, and it's pretty strong, to be honest. They're doing a great job with the AI. So you can get yourself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different AIs, even no AI as well if you want. And there's a lot of like really, really cool things you can do here. Plus also you can have multiple different difficulties in a game. You could potentially also watch two different AIs going at it with two different difficulties. You can play like team games with different difficulties going on. I'm not going to go into all of them, but there's some really fun ones here. I like Mythical. I like the Economist. I like the Overwhelmer as well. That one's probably a really, really nice one for a lot of people. But it's really, really cool. Definitely jump in and try it out if you like playing against the AI. Looks like also Xbox and PlayStation 5 mode are getting photo mode. I love photo mode. I've found myself using this quite a lot. There's a lot of really awesome moments that happen in my games. So it's cool that they're going to get that one as well. Also, we're seeing some new loading screen tips. Gonna have to learn how to play the game a little bit better. Heroes are not vulnerable to curse and some other god powers. Thank you for that. This is very, very cool. We're also seeing some full of the Trident campaign quality of life and difficulty adjustments. Now is a great time to play full of the Trident campaign again. Okay. Let's see what's actually been happening. New examples of changes include. Okay, so all of this stuff seems to be actually for the moderate difficulty. New world space prompts to improve awareness of game dynamics, minor adjustments to some parameters to better align it with expectations for a standard and moderate difficulty experience, and minor improvements to streamline the experience for newer players, including improvements for visibility around starting areas. So, I never played moderate. I don't know if you guys kind of newer to RTS games, this is going to be really good for you to jump back in and try it again, I guess. Let me know what it looks like and all the other good stuff. We got some in-game news. Oh, this could be cool. A new news feature has been added to the game. That's awesome. Hopefully we can see some cool like news updates for tournaments and all the other good stuff that comes in there. All right, and now we're on to some stability stuff. They always are doing this to try and fix crashes and things like that. Not going to go too much into it. Looks like they've been working hard to fix PlayStation 5. I have been reading that there's been a lot of problems with the PlayStation 5, so hopefully this is going to be fixing that stuff. So if you're a PlayStation 5 user that's been waiting for the game to be fixed before you actually jump in and try it again, definitely try it now. Hopefully it's all better. We are continuing to investigate a multiplayer possible fix. Okay. Yep. Graphics. Adjust the fog of war rendering to make the gradient between the black map and fog smaller. Okay. Minimap will now update correctly after moving water or changing elevation with a trigger. Okay. Terrain painted with triggers. Is there anything here that is interesting? Fixed popping that could occur. Ragnarok cast preview will now highlight all valid targets on screen instead of those in a target area near the cursor. I updated the idle fishing ship banner to show red, similar to the idle villager banner. I like this one. Having idle units is bad, right? So something that pops and it's like oh, there's something red there. Red's something that'll pop out. That'll be nice. Okay. Audio has been something that some people have been having issues with. I haven't really been noticing anything anymore on my own side, but hopefully this is fixed for people who are having issues still. I don't know. Let me know if it's still rubbish and try and explain why it's rubbish. Because yep. Jumping down to the UI, Magic Odd Portrait choices are now visible to other players in multiplayer lobbies. Sick. Portrait choices now show up in more places, including in-game chat, scoreboard, and as part of the post-game overview, voice chat indicators, yada, yada, yada. Anything else interesting here? I don't really see a whole lot. I want to jump down to the balance stuff, the gameplay. Let's check this out. Fixes dynamic progressive damage and infection are now no longer applied or handled by the ceasefire god parries. Active units can no longer become permanently invisible when walking through Shenong's blessed farms. Improvements have been made to AI, including the following fixes and additions. Villagers will now correctly try to start gathering the closest relevant resources after building a drop point. That's really, really nice. I'm still going to be shift clicking, but that's really nice. Animal predators can now attack villagers. Apparently this was a bug. I was enjoying my villagers not getting attacked. I thought it was by design. So be careful now. You can't just run villagers out into the middle of the map. If there's bear there, they might die. So you got to make sure you kill those off. Fixed a bug where trolls and Drago restarted their special attack wind-up when their initial target died before firing. Fixed a bug that could prevent players from attacking buildings that were in the process of actively time shifting away. Taunts now work in multiplayer when playing with an AI. Anything interesting that I'm a bug prevented repair farms. Fixed a bug which prevented 50% discount from the military camp and workshop. Assigning additional attack move waypoints is now possible. While in attack move mode, you can left click with shift pressed. Hold on. That's awesome. So what this means is I should be able to move command an army onto like a villager woodline or something, and then shift click attack move so that they will automatically attack when they get to the position rather than like watching them run in and then all the other good stuff. So you could probably do a lot of really, really cool stuff with this. Excuse me. But that's a really, really big quality of life improvement. Definitely be trying to use that. Deleting wall foundations near earth walls. Okay, fixed villages not... Actually, that was annoying. Fixed villages not dropping off resource when shift queuing after drop. Okay, good. And village priority system getting some improvements. That's nice. And now we get the balance updates. This is what everyone's after, right? Berry gather rate reduced from 0.8 to 0.7 food per second. This has got several implications. Implication number 1, we don't want to go into berries anymore. 0.8 versus 1.0 isn't that big of a difference considering we don't need to kill any animals, right? Like if I had to kill off a rhino, for example, that's going to take a second or 2 seconds, and that'll allow the berries to kind of keep up to some degree, right? If you take it down to 0.7, now it's clearly better to be on hunt, right? Clearly better to be on hunt. So I would say save berries till the very end. Berries are still going to be better than going onto farms, but yeah, this is a big nerf to berries. The whole reason for this is simply just to push people out onto the map more. This has been something that certain top players have been complaining about a little bit. I'm still not 100% sure on this, to be honest. I don't know what this is really going to do, whether it's going to be good or bad. You can still go into the berries if you can't get out onto the map, right? If you feel like your opponent is pressuring you too much, you can still go into the berries. Not going to be that bad, but yeah. Increased food contained inside animals by 25%, rounded to a nearby number. I actually like this. I didn't particularly like this for the in base hunt. I would have preferred everything to sort of stay the same in base, but increasing outside the base by 25% would have been really cool for me. But nonetheless, what this does is it means I'm not going to have to move my villages when I move out to the second hunt for longer. That's what that basically means. So if I'm the aggressive player and I'm containing my opponent in their base and I'm hunting, it means I'm punished less for hunting. I'm getting more value because I don't have to move my villagers around as much. They're actually gathering for longer. So it's a big boost, to be honest. Herdable fattening rate also reduced, and survival equipment now available at one age sooner. So all of this stuff you can see right here. It's all about re-incentivizing taking map control. Yeah. My personal opinion on this was map control was really important before. Now it's way more important, and people aren't going to be able to just hurdle as much. All right, next one. We've got Masons adjusted as follows. No longer reduces building and town center hack and crush vulnerability. Building hit points increased from 15% to 20%. And also for architects. This is all about making buildings just, well, one, the big boost is against any divine damage god powers here. And also, I think this is a little bit better against siege. What do they say? Masons and architects have been slightly reworked by making them easier to understand and no longer making buildings better specifically against siege, but better on the whole. This should result roughly in non-siege units such as human soldiers being worse against buildings in the mid-late game, while leaving siege roughly similar. Okay. I think this has got a lot more implications than just that, but for mostly just a building hit points increase can be thought of as every armor thing going up as well. So yeah, like if you're trying to just kill off buildings just with army without building any siege, it's going to be a little bit more tricky. I've been using siege a lot lately. I think that siege is really good. I don't know, unless there's some other siege changes. This doesn't change. Yeah, this doesn't change anything per se, I think, for the siege weapon, because they took the crush vulnerability boost away and just put it onto the building hit points, but I'm not exactly sure how much it'll change. But nonetheless, I'm still going to be building siege now and killing everyone. Crush armor of all siege weapons also increased from 65% to 70%. This has been happening pretty much every patch, it seems, where they're just trying to make siege weapons less good against other siege weapons. I like it. I don't know why. I think that the problem here, in my opinion, is that a certain siege weapon is doing too well against other siege weapons. It's not that all siege weapons are doing too well against each other, because it's not true. The catapult from Egyptian is doing too well against other siege weapons, right? So somehow working out how to make the Petropolis or the Siege Tower or the Heliopolis or like I don't know, the Ballista not die so quickly against the catapult would probably fix this whole thing. But it looks like they're saying that it's the entirety of the siege weapons, which I just not experiencing in my games. It's mostly just the catapult, right? If I'm not playing against Egyptian, I don't have this problem. So I don't know if this is going to fix that or not, or if we're just still going to see the same thing, considering all siege weapons getting all of their armor increase. It's still going to leave the catapult head and shoulders above everything else. But nonetheless, we're now seeing per scene getting reduced, Salt M4 are getting reduced, and fishing ship base gather rate increased from 0.5 to 0.55. Look, here's what's happening on water. If you're playing on a map that like Mediterranean, right? And it's just water, you're effectively seeing players who have got access to god powers that can boost themselves to win really quickly, having a really good time on those maps. And that's Plague of Serpents, that's Restoration, that's Lightning Weapons, right? I don't think there's a different god power that's really doing anything. Those are the three big god powers, maybe also Earthwall to some degree. And that means that with the recent change, effectively those gods were the only ones winning on water. Or those minor gods were the only ones winning on water at the top level. Reducing these things is going to make it less punishing, but they also increase the base gather rate, which is meaning I'm not sure exactly how close to. I think this is a reduction overall. As I say, we are moving a little power budget away from the text into the base and making Salt and Furrow a larger investment, give people who ended up losing water fight a slightly better chance to come back. I'm not sure if it's worse overall or not. I can't do that math in my head, but just making this a little bit more expensive does not really change anything. If you win water and you get Sultan for it and it's still really, really effective, then yeah, you're not going to be able to make a comeback on those maps. That needs to be addressed to some degree. Those really big power spikes from Gods on Water, but let's move forward. Deathmatch, spawning one less Quailfoot. Can't talk on that. Don't know anything. Tusk of Dankang. Spawn pigs now spawn in the town center, no longer following rally point. That's kind of sick. And they also nerfed it. Come on. All right. Some god powers have their concurrently active amounts limited. Earthwall, limited to 4 per player and 24 globally. Forest Protection Golmang, limited to 3 per player. Okay. I get, yeah, this is just a performance thing, I guess. These things are just too much. Okay, interesting. All right, all Pantheon changes, major gods. So this we did see some of this in the public update preview, so see what actually stays in. This was something we saw. The Cavalry Myth unit caravan move speed has been reduced from 0.4 to 0.3. Poseidon has been having success everywhere, and is now getting nerfed. So there you go. Take that, Poseidon, for having too much success, I guess. This doesn't change a huge amount, but will give Poseidon less of an opportunity to outplay earlier game, just because they're just a tiny bit slower. But yeah, still going to be a bit of a menace. The Centaurs are still pretty quick. Cyclops, pretty quick. Nemean Lions, pretty quick. Everything's still going to be pretty quick. Losing a speed or 0.1 speed on the caravan is a pretty big hit to economy in the late game. But yeah, that's fine. Okay, so Aphrodite, Divine Blood Technology cost reduced from 100 food, 30 favor to 100 food, 25 favor. And Spirit Charge getting reduced as well by 5 favor. So nerf here, buff here. And Bronze getting nerfed as well. So Bronze is now getting taken down. And Skylark. Look, this is... Bronze you can always run away from, right? Like, that's the whole sort of thing. But there's some situations where maybe if, like, a player has got full cavalry or something, it makes it impossible to run away. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, I guess I have to fight it. And then you lose all your dudes and you click resign button. That was kind of unfortunate. So I don't know if this is going to do much. 35% reduction in vulnerability is still huge. So we'll see how much that matters. The Scala Pierce Armor reduced from 70 to 65. That's going to allow the Trireme or the Archer ships with Heroic Fleet to deal with this better. Hippias Pierce Armor increased from 40% to 45%. This is something that's going to be happening for all of the main line cavalry, it looks like. So they are going for this. The idea is that cavalry units aren't doing well enough against mass archer unit compositions. Now they will. That's the idea. 45%. That's a huge boost. So yeah. Plus, if you also get pierce upgrades on top of this, it should be a really nice thing. I think this is going to be a nice change. All right. Ra. Monument area empowerment no longer affects other monuments. This one should be limiting the amount of favor that Ra was getting specifically. So Ra would place like 3 monuments in his main base, empower the big fat monument, and have a gigantic amount of stuff there. All right, priest and monument and area empowerment effect reduced from 70% to 60%. The strength of a pharaoh. This is a pretty big nerf. I believe we were at 60% in the at the start of at the launch of Retold, right? For this one for Ra. And everyone was saying that, Ra is really, really weak back then. So I wouldn't be actually surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if players start opting to not jump on to the monument early with the Pharaoh now. And maybe we're going to start seeing some more blind or delayed scouting Ra from Ra players, right? Delayed scouting Priest, delayed scouting like maybe with a Sphinx instead in the classical age. But this is a pretty big nerf, I think. Ra, for me, was one of the strongest gods. Head and Shoulders, one of the strongest gods. Maybe it wasn't the same at lower levels, but yeah, this god was doing really, really well. I'm pretty sure I was close to 100% win rate with Ra when I was playing him well. And yeah, he was a bit of a menace. Set, all right. Adjusted animals of Set. Okay, I don't think that really is changing anything. Adjusted priests, animal conversion durations. I don't think that changes much either. Just a bit of a slower conversion onto stuff. Clairvoyance technology is reduced. Oh, okay. This is just a buff for Set. Save myself 50 gold on a technology and 5 favor on a technology that's just really, really good. Fantastic. We basically get map hacks with this one. Make sure you grab it. Eclipse gets reduced by 11 seconds. This thing was lasting forever. Like, it just felt like it was lasting forever. And you're like, dude, I just want to run away from it. And then you're like, but it's still there. So that's going to be nice. All right. Now we've got Sobek, Solar Bark technology. Okay, this is something that I've been complaining about forever, is that certain technologies regarding the water are just garbage. And this was one of them. Solar Bark or Bark Q, I don't know. Cabinet damage required for spawning 3 sea snakes reduced from 500 to 200. 500 was just an impractical amount of damage for a cabinet to get to. It just was so rare. I was doing some testing on it, being like, when is this coming through? And I'm like, no, it's just not. I'm just not getting it practically. So I'll probably try it out again. Nephthys Spirit of Mart technology gets reduced, and Nephthys is also increasing Priest and Pharaoh hit points by 10%. That's really nice. I'll probably go start trying Nephthys out some more now. Nephthys is... I don't think Nephthys was weak. So this is just making something that wasn't weak much stronger. The thing is, though, that for my playstyle, Sekhmet was just on another level, right? And I'll just keep using it. I do know that there was quite a few Nephthys sort of things that you could do that I just wasn't doing. But yeah, so I probably start using Nephthys a little bit more with this one, especially if my opponent is using a lot of myth units. All right, so Sekhmet Crimson Linen gets a boost, and the Citadel God Power Favor cost increased from 125 to 150. I wasn't really using this recast unless the game went on really late, and I guess that's what this is targeting. Yeah, that's literally just what this is targeting. So it's just going to mean that there's going to be like a longer timer for Set and Ra players to get to that like 3 Citadel center point. That's all that means. And obviously if the Egyptian player gets the 3 Citadels and your opponent doesn't have any population boosting things, they just lose because you've just got an extra 30 population than your opponent to use. So yeah, this is kind of good. I would love to see Citadel Center just reworked. Just my own little like wish list of like how this god power and how other god powers like god powers which artificially increase your population or actually increase your population like Citadel Center. I'd rather you not be able to make more than one of these. Like I would say rework the god power such that if I click Citadel Center, it will crumble somewhere else and I'd be able to move it around for very cheap on the map, like in defensive locations. But they obviously don't want to do something like that. They want to have the god power be fun. My idea is probably not that fun. All right, myth units: Sphinx, Bast, cost increased 120 gold to 18 favor, 120 gold to 20 favor. Yeah, I'm not using the Sphinx. I barely used it. It doesn't change much for me. But for those Sphinx users out there, this thing was probably performing too well. Probably. Anyways, minion Nephthys, Osiris damage increased from 8 to 9. Okay, so Ancestors by itself is getting stronger, but this doesn't also mean that Isis's Ancestors Eclipse has also gotten stronger. So while the Eclipse got weaker by duration, now the minions are stronger for Isis. Set with this, I was starting to see usages of Ancestors doing like quite a lot. But if you didn't play into a very specific play style, it wasn't doing very much for set. So yeah, you have to do a very specific play style to make things work with Nephthys. Now maybe it's going to branch out a little more into some other sort of timings and things like that. Anyways, now we see the priest getting adjusted. So range increased from +5 to +7 upon reaching the classical age. Range reduced from +5 to +4 upon reaching heroic age and mythic age. So basically in the mythic age, the priest is going to be the same. It's just a boost to the... And also in the heroic age, it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a boosted. So yeah, the priest was garbage. To put it bluntly, the priest was garbage in the classical age, was pretty good in the heroic age, and was awesome in the mythic age. To put it bluntly. So now it's going to be less garbage in the classical age. I might be able to actually kill off some centaur with this much range. Or even like start killing off a cyclops that's walking into my army before it actually gets there if I have enough of them. Actually kill it. But yeah, this is a good change for me. I think this is really needed. We'll see. All right. The Spearman has had a couple of big nerfs. It was way overperforming in the last patch. Yeah, bonus damage multiplier versus cavalry reduced from 1.75 to 1.5. Cost increased from 50 to 20 to 50 to 25 gold, so 5 extra gold, and train time increased from 11.5 to 12.5. Yeah, these things were just overperforming. I think they obviously want to stick the Spearman into more of a generalist role. I don't mind that. It's fine. I prefer the Egyptian identity of having like good counter units actually countering. I imagine the Spearman is still going to be really good versus cavalry. I don't think it's going to be a problem. These boosts here probably just hitting more cheesy Spearman spamming strategies than anything else. I think if you're just going to be using Spearman kind of as a counter to cavalry or as a generalist unit for your like Spearman chariot ball, you're not going to feel these changes that much. Okay, Axeman has been... Wow, they actually nerfed this. I don't know how I feel about this, to be honest. There's a couple of things... Okay, this is why. All right, let's read it. Bonus damage multiplier versus infantry reduced from 4.5 to 4. BS armor increased from 5 to 10. So these changes are aimed at slightly relieving the Norse Hersa from being taken down so quickly by Egyptian barracks soldiers and shifting the power budget more towards the Migdol stronghold. Oh no. I just saw the next change. Okay. Well then, welcome to my life. All right. Yes, Norse Hersa suck versus Axeman. Something needs to be done there. I don't know if this is going to be enough. But Norse Hersa suck versus Axeman. Axeman, however, are average against Atlantean. They are average versus Greek, with the exception of once you get to Horus, where you can use Axeman to take out Hoplites and Peltasts nicely. They won't take out Toxotes, though. They obviously don't see any play really in the Egyptian mirror. And yeah, they're really, really good versus Norse. And they probably don't see any play in the against China either, right? You're probably more like making chariots anyways. So yeah. We'll see. I'm scared a little bit about where that's going, but we'll see. This one, however, this is a wild boost to the Chariot Archer. This is absolutely wild. Let me unpack it. Actually, there is one change that's kind of big going into this. But let me unpack why this is wild. In the last patch, the Chariot Archer was overperforming for me. I was able to use this unit to lock my opponent in their base, raid my opponent, and specifically with Ra and Set, I was able to spam this unit out incredibly quickly. With Isis, you wanted to be a little bit more timing orientated with a good bulk of army. You didn't really want to go for all Chariot Archers. You could go for Chariot Archer Elephant or Chariot Archer Spearman or something like that. Hit your Ancestors Eclipse timing. But with Set and Ra getting Bone Bow, this thing was pretty strong. I have an interesting video on this where I got one relic that boosted my Chariot Archer's range by 1 and was able to effectively break a really strong Greek player, by the way, with pure Chariot Archers against him making basically pure Peltast. I was making a couple of Camel Riders towards the end, but you can do so much damage with these. And now they're coming out even faster. I'm going to enjoy this, and I'm going to hate this at the same time. So we'll see. The one thing that does change is this Pierce Armor increase. So hopefully this is going to mean that players who make Cavalry to try and break the Chariot Archer Ball are going to be able to kill the Chariot Archer Ball. There's also a train time reduction on all of the Migdol units. I guess this is something that Egyptian players were calling for. I actually was experimenting very recently with building one Migdol stronghold and trying to hit a timing attack. But the experiment was, well, if I just empower my Migdol stronghold with my Pharaoh, all of a sudden, I don't need a second Migdol. But yes, my Pharaoh's not anywhere else. So now I might not even need to do that. This is looking closer to legacy numbers where you could just go one Migdol and just spam units out of it. But anyways, we'll see. As the Monument to Gods also getting a reduction, so that's nice. Over here we got Odin. This is the Hamask technology, Berserk, bonus damage multiplying increase from 25% to 50%. Really? Wasn't this already doing okay? Okay. Nice butt boost for Odin there. Ghoul and Burst, God Power impact as follows. Damage from impact reduced from 20 to 10. Initial impact scaling per age reduced from 20 to 10 per hack damage per age. Archaic and Classical age 50 to 40. Heroic 60 to 45. Mythic 70 to 50. Okay. So, yeah, this is still the best God Power in the game for the Archaic age, I think. It's probably always going to be the best God Power in the game for the Archaic age, for an Archaic age God Power, until the damage from the impact is removed. Because what's going to happen is, you want to force this out, right? So what your opponent's going to do is say, okay, well, you're in a position where my Ghoul and Burst is going to do a lot of damage. I'm going to click that onto your army, send a bunch of units into my town center. I'm going to kill it with my army. Ghoul and Burst is going to stun. I'm going to kill even more dudes. And while you force it out, you still lost half your army. On top of that, the combination with this God Power and what's it called? Tempest is really, really strong. So if you don't force out Ghoul and Bursty before your Freya opponent gets to the Heroic Age, they're going to have Ghoul and Bursty Tempest, which is one of the strongest God Power combinations in the game. So yeah, this is still really good. Don't look at this and be like, oh, look at this duration of terrible. Freya's unplayable now. No. This Freya's going to be really good still, I think. Okay. Sess Rumnir adjusted as follows: a research time reduction and a cost reduction of 5 favor. That's nice. I was getting this technology nearly every single time with Freya, so just a little quality of life thing. And Baladat, Sons of Sleipnir now affects all cavalry. So this is going to make the Jarls a little bit more potent. Jarls, We'll get into Jarls a little later if we have to. Okay, Heimdall, Undermine, God Power has changed a little bit. Okay. I think it was just in team games where if you use 2 of one town center, it just kills the town center. So they're just making that impossible. Okay, Einherry, Heimdall. Movement speed increased from 3.5 to 3.8. I want this to go up to 4. Go to 4.0. Go to 4.0, please. That's what I want. Please, 4.0. I want to be able to move my army around and not feel like it's so slow. It's the same with like the priest, right? Like if I build priests and they're at 3.8 speed, now my army is so slow and it's annoying. If it was at 4.0, then I'd very happily be grabbing multiple Einherry and putting them in my army. But at 3.8, I'm like, do I really want to? I'll definitely try it. We'll see. But feels tough. Nidhogg Hell now starts with his ability disabled by default. Interesting. Not sure what that's about. I think maybe it's just everybody was missing with that ability on the initial attack, and now you're going to have to like manually queue it off or something, I guess. All right, the Hersir adjusted as follows. Movement speed increased from 4.5 to 4.8. Bonus damage versus myth units increased from 5.5 to 6. Pierce armor increased from 15% to 25%. So there was a change to the Hersir through its tech of Hall of Thanes that made the Hersir very, very weak. Hersir was a unit that was just not performing well in any way, shape, or form. I would spam this unit out and still not kill off all of my opponent's myth units and get very confused about why myth units were doing so well against me when I was playing so well around them. So, yeah. 4.5 to 4.8 means now if I get Hall of Thanes, I should be getting close to that 5.2 speed. Extra damage versus myth units by 0.5 isn't a big DPS increase for the Hersir. This is not that big, but it's very welcome. And a PS armor increase is something I didn't really think about, but this is going to allow the Hersir to survive a lot longer against archers. So, for example, if your opponent is going for Toxotes Cyclops, we're going to be able to deal with those Cyclops a little bit easier because our Hersir are going to last a little longer against the Toxotes bull. So good. And we've got the Goatee getting an increase in Pierce, attack range, and line of sight. Wow, big boost to the Goatee here as well. This should also actually be giving Goatee more of a boost, not just against myth units, but also against like Axemen as well. So this will be interesting to see like the Cess Rumnir angle with a bonus to damage. Here it could be very, very interesting. And we see a Hero of Ragnarok buff. Oh dear, it looks like Balder might be on the menu, guys. 4.3 speed is quick for those Heroes of Ragnarok, and the hit point increase is welcome. I'm still waiting for the... They did do this buff once. I think they took the Hero of Ragnarok from 3 pop to 2 pop. I was waiting for a 3 pop to 1 pop for this thing to make a lot of sense to me in Retold, right? But this will be just making this more powerful. Definitely give it a try. We'll see how it goes. Okay, rating cavalry adjusted as follows. Bonus damage multiplier versus archers increased from 1.5 to 1.75. PS armor increased from 35% to 40%. And this is just everything that's the same. And a boost to the Jarl in terms of damage as well. Okay, now I'll talk about the Jarl. This unit was actually pretty good. This unit, I had a very specific usage for it, but it was doing really well inside of that. And that was against anti-infantry, anti-archer, specifically Paspist and Peltast or Axeman Slinger. If my opponent was ever making those units, I would start mixing in Jarls because they would be a tank for those, so I could kill them off much easier. So, yeah. Anyways, this is just making the Jarl better at that. So that's when you want to use it. Maybe in other situations as well. But there's also a big boost in Yord as well, I guess. Throwing Axeman is also getting his PS armor increase from 10% to 15% and range increase from 10 to 11. This is a really big boost to Norse, just in general. I think Norse actually might be really good now. They were really struggling in the last patch. Don't get me wrong, but I think this is a big boost to them. Okay, Chronos can also now time shift farms. Yes, I'm so stealing my enemy farms. Let me steal them. I'm so excited. All right, Nareed has a bit of a boost, but also is getting to HP and survivability, but loses that multiplier versus myth units. It's still going to be hit and run, but now you hit run and you can survive for longer, I guess. And the Dryads now having a train time reduction from 22 to 13. These were taking too long to train. It was kind of a welcome nerf for me, but maybe it was too much. Fair enough. And also the Contarius getting a PS here, getting that PS boost as well. So all the cavalry, regardless if they were doing well or not, beforehand got another boost. Okay. Fire Siphon getting a boost as well. Fnatic getting a boost. I thought these things were doing really well, to be honest, but that's fine. And Miller Tower also getting a boost. Apparently Atlantis has been noticeably struggling in the later stages of the game. This might have been true for Uranus. I don't think it was true for Kronos or Gaia. But we'll see. We'll see. I think this is actually a really big boost for Uranus as well, just on the fact that it's going to allow Uranus to finish off an opponent. If the siege has got a bit more survivability, then you can actually finish off that opponent. So they're not going to be able to sit there and then hit some sort of a power spike or something that they're going to be able to just never die and kill you with. So that's kind of nice, I guess. All right, onwards and upwards. Shenong. Oh god. This change came through. Look, developers, just because something is seeing very little usage, I get what you're doing, but it doesn't mean that it's bad. This is an insane technology. 10 HP per second on 5 units for the Sage. I am grabbing this. I was grabbing it before. I didn't play much Shenong. That's why I wasn't grabbing it. Because I wasn't playing. I was getting Shenong like one every 15 games. So, but if I was building a Sage, right? My opponent had to be building myth units. Now I don't care. Now I just build Sage. This is 10 HP, 5 HP a second in a fight for 3 units. I'm moving Temple of Healing. This is really, really powerful. I can't overstate how good this is. This is busted. This is actually, I think this is actually a busted technology. Go and grab it. Enjoy. While it's busted, I'm hoping this gets reverted. Just straight up. Okay, how to Earth Wall is no longer affected by wall upgrades. Okay, good. Maelstrom technology just as follows. This thing was busted as well. It's probably still really good, is my guess. I was using it I had it used on me when I played on like one of those modded water maps. I guess people are using it now in Mediterranean and having really nice stuff. Okay, the drought ship has been nerfed. This thing is funny. There's a couple of situations to use this and get insane value. You're still going to be getting that value. It's a little bit less powerful against human units with the 50 crush now instead of 100 divine. But like if I run 3 fishing ships into an army, I'm still doing 150 divine damage. That's killing most of them. Plus freezing and armor reduction for my army to kill everything else off. This is still really good against human units, so you got to be careful. If you ever see Nubar, ask yourself, why is my opponent doing this? All right, myth units. Tao Wu. Dash ability no longer affects farms, animals, and heroes. Okay, Qiongqi. This thing was insane. They actually went through with that. Okay. I'm going to say it again. This unit needs to have in my opinion, needs to have a long cooldown on its ability so that you can't jump into your opponent's base and then immediately when your opponent gets over there with their hero to react to it, leave. Similar to the Anubite, right? Like 10 seconds is a decent time for the ability to be on cooldown, right? Maybe it should go up to 15 seconds as well because it's different to the Anubite in that once the Anubite jumps, I can chase it down and catch up to it. You can't chase down the Qiongqi and catch up to it. So I think that this would be a much, much more interesting unit and better unit if I had to land away from my opponent, walk in, start doing damage, and have my ability off cooldown, right? Like a little bit more like counterplay and stuff like that, but nonetheless. Let's go over here. Also, the line of sight reduction here. I don't mind that. That's nice. That's a good nerf. And the damage also is a good nerf. But Chi-Wen, Bolster ability, target crush vulnerability, reduced from 75% to 25%. Good. This thing was insane. Absolutely insane. While certainly a novel effect, being able to make a building completely invulnerable even to siege was a bit too much. However, it is still possible to do so if you have enough Chi-Wens. Even after this change, it just requires a much more investment. So I think, what is this, 40? I don't know if this is how math works. Is this, you need 4 Chi-Wen to get to that 100% boost? But yeah, like they're saying, 4 Chi-Wen investing, that's a lot of population. You just kill the Chi-Wen. It's not that big of a deal. But before, it was just build 1, and it was, yeah, that's kind of different. Anyways, okay. Hero units, Sage, getting healing going up to 7.5. Kuao Fu getting a reduction in damage. Okay. Getting better against siege weapons and stuff like that. Okay. Wusu Javelineer gets a reduction in train time. All right. Okay, so Terracotta Riders have 75% reduction in damage in the archaic age. White Horse Cavalry gets its boost. All right, this unit here definitely needed a nerf. This thing got a big nerf on kind of everything. So we'll see if it's still going to be really, really good. But yeah, this unit was having a lot of success. Okay, the Chuko Nu range increased 14 to 15. Fire Archer adjusted as follows. Costs increased from 45 gold. Wood 35 gold to 50 wood 35 gold. So a bit of a nerf there. Still not sure what the Chuko Nu is doing. I still don't know when to build this unit. It's a generalist ranged unit, right? And this here Fire Archer is a anti-infantry unit. Generalist range unit, what is that being generalist against? Everything that kills, everything is going to have huge amounts of pierce armor that the Fire Archer is not going to be able to kill anyway. So the Chuko is not going to be doing any better against those, right? So why would I ever build this unit? I'm only ever going to build archers when I'm playing against infantry, right? So I'm only ever going to be building fire archers. That's my thought process on this. So when is the Chuko Nu going to be relevant? When do I build it? I don't know. I guess the only real good option is against, say, Prodromus. That's the only time I can think of to kill this. So some sort of against Greek, if they're going to go Prodromus against my Tiger Cavalry, I can make Chuko Nu. But even then, I'm probably just going to be making halberdiers, and I'm just going to go very heavy onto food. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Anyways, okay. So Kuao Fu damage adjusted from 24 pierce, 3 crush, 22 pierce, 5 crush, and the dock going down in favored land, and that's it. This thing was busted, by the way. So it's going to be a little bit harder to connect docks to your favored land. So yeah. Random maps. Wow, okay. The following changes have been made to the standard rank pool. You've now got Air, Mount Olympus, and Sea of Worms in. Removed Peach Blossom Land, Bamboo Grove, and Blue Lagoon out. Wow. Goodbye, sir. Everyone's favorite Blue Lagoon, gone. So Air is a map that has a big rock in the middle, like Uluru in Australia. It's just a big rock that blocks everything around. It's an interesting map. Mount Olympus is a really large map, which is very fun to play on for me. Lots of room for maneuverability and out moving your opponent, but lots of also room for getting walls up and making life difficult for your opponent there as well. And Sea of Worms, I really hope they change Sea of Worms. This map I'm not going to enjoy playing on, I don't think, at the moment, but we'll see. And also the quick match hunt now. Okay. There was a pretty funny thing happening on Gnarl Shallows where you would get like a butt ton of hunt inside of your main base. And we've also got minor adjustments on maps, having less starting chickens, less berries on average. So 1 berry and 1 chicken less on average. So that's kind of a big thing. Over here, the campaign had some changes, modding had some changes, and that's it. Coming up, hello Myth players and community. We're excited to bring you this patch with our brand new AI personalities, more balance updates, and some PlayStation 5 performance fixes. These personalities really do unlock a whole new ways to play in skirmish and multiplayer modes. So come try your hand against them. We're also excited to see the outcome of this month's Pantheon pinup. It's our first community event, and we'd like to acknowledge that it's had a few kinks that we are getting worked out. We appreciate everyone that's been contributing, and it's not too late to invite a friend to dust off their copy on any platform and join in the fun. Coming in the next few weeks will be a June public update preview on Steam, showcasing a new update, and one that's been long awaited and oft mentioned in forums. We look forward to your feedback. I have no idea what that means, but that sounds exciting. Anyways, cool. A very interesting patch. We'll see exactly who comes out on top, who are the winners, who are the losers. I think Norse are a winner on this one, but we'll see if it's enough. I think China is a big loser. They were way overperforming. A couple of things are going to be really, really strong, though, for them. Obviously, Atlantean getting a bit of a boost as well. And I still think Egyptian's going to be really powerful. So, yeah. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and look forward to checking this one out and playing a whole bunch of games for you and all the other good stuff. And we'll see you in the next one.